Story 1. For me, it is being able to leave the house with zero preparation. No makeup, no outfit planning, no second guessing. Story 2. Being naturally stronger does have its benefits. Sure, I work a physical job, but even when I did not, I was still stronger than the majority of my female friends and acquaintances. Story 3. I always laugh about how things my wife does that would just be considered normal mom stuff get praise from other people. I take my kids grocery shopping with me, and I get a lot of positive attention. The kids get balloons, crayons, and other treats. If I show up to help at their school, apparently a dad doing this is seen as a novelty. It is really unfair because, frankly, my wife does all of this better than I do. Not because she is a woman, but because she is just better at it. Story 4. I just have to say, people of Reddit, that your absolute respect for the monthly menstrual cycle and pregnancy has moved me to tears. Probably because I am on my period and everything makes me cry right now. But still, so sweet. Story 5. Oh, so much. I love being a man. Not having a period and not having to give birth have been mentioned before, but I think they deserve another shout out. For me, however, I think the difference in beauty standards gives me the most relief. I am by no means morbidly obese, but I definitely have a dad bod and have been in better shape at times in my life. On top of that, I am an extremely hairy man and have been since my early teenage years. While I recognize that if I were a woman, I probably wouldn't have as much body hair as I do now, the idea of regularly shaving my legs, underarms, and anywhere else hair grows besides my eyebrows and head hair would be incredibly tedious for me. There is also the fact that women face much more pressure to stay in shape and look good than men do because, right or wrong, men are more attracted to physical beauty and place more emphasis on it than women do. I love my wife for her loving and caring personality, but I admit the first thing that attracted me to her was that I thought she was attractive. On the other hand, she told me the first thing that drew her to me was my warm and kind personality, that she thought I was funny, and that I paid attention to her, which she was not used to after most of her life being a wallflower in the background of her cousins' or brothers' social lives. Personally, I really like that I don't have to be in spectacular shape to be with the incredible woman I married. I can let my personality do the heavy lifting, which is much easier than constantly stressing about being in perfect shape. I still want to look good and am working hard towards weight loss, but I have never had to wonder if my wife's affection is diminished because of my physique. Story 6. No menopause hot flashes. Low odds of experiencing sexual assault. Not being forced to carry a sexual assailant's baby. Not being second-class citizens in most religious texts. Recognizing that around the world women face persecution to the point of not being able to show skin or drive or vote or have an opinion. To all the women out there, you are valued and loved by real men who understand we are all earthlings trying to get by, and life-bearing earthlings should at the very least be treated equally. Story 7. Realizing that my solitude is not a curse but a deeply underrated privilege. Peace, freedom, and complete autonomy. Took me a long time to see that. Story 8. Clothing sizes make sense. A 34-inch waist is a measurable value, not an arbitrary number that varies widely depending on the brand. Also, pockets. Story 9. People leave you alone, and you are not noticed or bothered much. If you like solitude, it is great. Women are bothered much more by random people, especially men, and even circles of women are more emotionally involved. Obviously, no menstruation is great too. Story 10. You can blend in, unbothered, in any crowd anywhere. No matter how handsome you are, you will never be stopped, and you will never be the object of other people's desire. Story 11. As a man, I obviously have no clue what it is like, but I am pretty confident that I would hate it. Story 12. Being used to being ignored and having to get everything done on my own. I mean, it sucks, but at least I'm used to it, so as I get older, it's no big deal. Story 13. I'm in my 40s, and so is my girlfriend. We're planning a big vacation together, and it's striking how differently we prepare. I'm thinking about what we'll see, what excites me, what gear I need, which routes to take, and I'm doing some background reading to learn about the places and things we'll experience. She's thinking about what to wear, whether there'll be enough outlets for her hair straightener, and how she'll look in photos. I don't feel judged for what I wear, even though I know she, hopefully only quietly, judges me and my convertible trousers. But she feels judged mostly by herself. No one else there knows her or cares. I used to laugh it off as vanity, but I've come to see it's much deeper. Her whole life, her worth has been tied to her appearance. That's brutal. I'm with her because she's smart, fun, and kind, and I feel good around her. Not really because of how she looks, but if I told her that, it might actually hurt more than help. Because deep down, many women are taught that love is tied to beauty and that beauty is a condition of worth. That's one of the great things about being a man. I get to just be. I can stand in the African bush with messy hair and 2 shirts in my pack. And no part of me feels like that isn't who I am. Story 14. Upper body strength is important. It is hard to believe that so many women go through life without it, but some men do as well. Story 15. Not having a uterus means no periods or mood swings. Being strong and fast. Being able to relax easily. Story 16. There was a post on one of the women's Reddit pages earlier asking, "How do you do a urine test without getting urine on your hands?" I laughed as a male. Story 17. I can walk down the street at night and feel pretty safe. I am probably just as threatening as the person I am threat assessing. Story 18. You actually do not need much to be happy, and life is simpler. I am not talking about premenstrual syndrome, hormones, and related matters. Story 19. Not having a period. Being taller and stronger in general. Not having to carry a baby for 9 months. Being less of a target for sexual assault, although men are not completely free from this risk. To be honest, entering an open body of water and worrying about something swimming up my body, along with the various potential health issues related to female anatomy, is something I would rather not deal with. While men can have medical issues, they seem less common. Also, standing to urinate is pretty convenient. Story 20. Safety. A group of teenagers were hassling my girlfriend and she called me, so I ran out to rescue her. A simple "leave us alone" or "we are going to have a problem" was enough to make them scatter. Story 21. Not having to deal with any of the challenges of the female reproductive system is beneficial. Additionally, urinating while standing up is convenient. Story 22. Everything in the world is designed for an average male. The whole world is somewhat more comfortable and safer for us. Story 23. Having more authentic and less problematic friendships overall is a privilege I did not realize until many of my female friends pointed it out to me. According to them, their friendships can become unnecessarily complicated, often full of drama, and less reliable. Of course, this is a broad generalization, and I am sure many women have great friendships with other women. I am simply sharing what I have been told. Story 24. This might be more specific to being a personal trait, but the ability to just tank damage that would put anyone smaller and less built in the hospital. I know there is a limit to that capacity to soak damage. I just haven't found it yet. I am not saying that I have never been to the hospital. A ruptured appendix nearly ended me a couple of years ago, but I spent 4 days in the hospital after the emergency surgery and was back to work the day after they released me. I rode my motorcycle to work that day. I would not like to have to think about my own fragile mortality on a regular basis. I doubt I would be able to function. Story 25. I can go years without contact and then reach out to one of my best friends and pick up right where we left off. Me, "Hey, I have been a bit busy lately. Long time no see, but do you want to do something this weekend?" Him, "Sure. How about we restart that pen and paper role-playing game we played about 3 to 4 years ago? Then we gather the guys and start playing again. It was just a short break." Story 26. No menstruation. Significantly more physical strength, particularly in the upper body. Much lower chance of being sexually assaulted. Easier to urinate without a sitting toilet. Story 27. My best friend and I planned a 4-day trip to Yellowstone and Grand Tetons. The only concrete plans we had were the campsite and the flights and car rental. We showed up with a physical, foldable map, no cell service for 4 days, and navigated without a set plan each day, just a general direction. We agreed on our meals every day, talked when we wanted to, and didn't assume the other was upset when we weren't talking. The airline took our stove on the flight, so we bought one on the spot. It was not a huge argument or a day ruiner. We adapted to things as they happened and had an absolute blast. The "we'll figure it out as we go" aspect of being a man, while actually being capable of figuring it out, is a huge advantage. Story 28. I can already see where most of the comments are going, so I'll take a slightly different path. The brother positivity feedback loop. When one of the friends gets an absolutely golden bit of good news, it ripples through the friend group for about a week. The next time you see each other after that good news, it feels like an explosion of good vibes. This continues each time you tell a friend or meet as a group. It can be anything. A baby arriving, just finishing a big project, landing someone they have been courting, or anything else. You don't even have to be a long-term friend. I can know you for just a month and find out you just ran your first marathon, and you will get a sincere congratulations from me. Story 29. Being a gay man is even better than being a regular man. No kids, so I don't have to worry about someone knocking on my door 18 years later. Phew. Story 30. I am trying to think of any laws that restrict my bodily autonomy and cannot really think of any. Even erectile dysfunction medications seem to avoid any scrutiny. Story 31. Not worrying about menstruation, childbirth, or hormonal contraceptive side effects. Experiencing less societal judgment for body hair or aging, and having more freedom to walk alone at night without fear. Also, pants always have usable pockets. Story 32. Being a man can be meaningful in quiet ways, such as having the space to be dependable, forming strong bonds through shared experiences, and learning to lead or support others with strength and care. Story 33. Naturally being basically enhanced with steroids, women have to train incredibly hard to be as strong as a male beginner. If they become even stronger than that, my respect increases greatly. One of the most notable experiences transgender women discuss is how drastically their natural muscle mass decreases and how significant the loss of strength is. Many men take their natural testosterone for granted. It is like having superpowers. Story 34. Everyone is talking about menstruation, but for me, it's that I don't have to compensate for the hormonal and emotional shifts that happen during that time. Sure, men experience slight hormonal and mood cycles as well, but I don't have to spend several days a month reminding myself that how I feel right now may not truly reflect how I feel, or wondering if something is actually wrong or if my body is just making me feel that way in the moment. I give credit to women for not ending up in trouble for snapping. I'm not sure I'd be as lucky. Menopause would be overwhelming. Story 35. Definitely stronger than 50% of the population, at least generally speaking. I don't have a sister, and my mom doesn't dare competing with men, so I didn't realize how much stronger men were on average. Men have approximately 33% more upper body strength than women. I asked some of my female friends, and they said the maximum number of pull-ups they could do was maybe 3 to 4, while I could do 8 or 9 easily. Story 36. In today's society, the perk list is drastically diminished. Reduced to income producers, shamed online by those they love and trust for having hobbies and passions that bring them joy, their very being and existence are referred to as toxic, then demonized by being lumped into the same category as molesters and rapists, justifying such a vile accusation based simply on the sole merit of similar genitalia. Men carry the weight of society on their backs but are expected to be quiet about their struggles, or else they aren't men. Leading the population in fields such as commercial fishing, logging, aircraft piloting, roofing, animal control, city sanitation, and commercial trucking and transportation of goods. While comprising 50% of the population, males accounted for nearly 80% of suicide deaths in 2023, with the suicide rate among males roughly 4 times higher than the rate among females. If a woman calls for the end of patriarchy, I often wonder if she is aware that the society that operated around her or protects her is what she wishes to remove. There are blatantly obvious reasons men are walking away from dating. Most women want a father-like figure to provide a princess experience relationship with next to no responsibilities while offering nothing traditional of value. Obedient, skilled cook, supporting partner without insults, nagging, or issues. Virginity, hardly. Most come with at least one child these days. But if a man cannot change a tire, he is not a man. I do enjoy a cherry-picked double standard. A good woman, a loyal woman, one who will stand by you no matter what comes your way. That is a treasure to protect and honor. Story 37. There is generally a lack of threat from almost anyone you encounter, unless you seek it out or engage. People do not specifically seek you out while you mind your own business. It is much easier to pick and choose your interactions, but there is also the underlying capacity to inflict damage in return if push comes to shove. The attention you lack can be difficult to handle to an extent, but it is also very much a blessing. Story 38. Having the strength and skill to help friends who really need it, whether moving, disposing of pests or threats in a home, or helping a neighbor's child learn how to fix their electronics. Being a man comes with many responsibilities, and I embrace them. Story 39. Not being sexually attracted to men. As a heterosexual man, I find other men mostly unappealing. Story 40. Being taken seriously at the doctor. People almost fall over themselves to make sure I get all my options. They prescribe medicine basically instantly. Then my wife goes with significantly worse symptoms, and it is like pulling teeth to get doctors to even speculate, run any diagnostics, or worse, get shoot out the door with a pamphlet on managing stress. It is infuriating. Story 41. Unlimited dad jokes and no shame in wearing socks with sandals. Simple perks, but honestly, sometimes that is enough. Story 42. In sports and in the realm of building and fixing things, brother culture is quite good. In the military, church, and most other places, brother culture is quite bad. Not being pregnant is a plus until you realize that you have to deal with the person you impregnated. Story 43. No pregnancy. No menstruation. Can walk home alone. No preparation needed to go out. Not judged for sleeping with someone. Topless is acceptable in summer. If I am single at 40, no one cares. Salary is better. No one feels the need to correct me in my field. Body hair is socially acceptable. I can build muscle without worrying about hooking up. Most pornography is targeted to my gender. Can urinate standing. Fewer social expectations as a parent. Hairdressers are cheaper. Pockets and general quality of clothes are better. No street harassment. Can travel alone. Contraception available. Multiple cancers do not apply. Getting older is more socially acceptable. No menopause, etc. Story 44. Biologically bigger and stronger. No monthly visit from menstruation. No fear of being attacked and sexually assaulted. I can urinate pretty much anywhere. Never have to give birth. Never have to go through menopause. Story 45. Being less than 6 days out of appendix surgery and feeling like you have to go back to work because rest feels unproductive, and you are more anxious at home knowing you have so much work piling up. Typed at my desk at work. Story 46. Going to a bar or somewhere and not being approached, just left alone. Or maybe I am just unattractive or unapproachable. Story 47. I genuinely do not ever feel like I am in physical danger, but that is a large man perk. I am 6 feet 2 inches tall, 300 pounds, and carry concealed. If I ever feel like I am in danger, it is usually because I put myself in a bad situation. Story 48. I am a larger man and have lifted weights regularly for decades. I rarely think twice about going for a walk or run late at night. The downside is that, based on most online comments, almost every woman who does not know me thinks I am a walking assault machine. Story 49. At Grand Central Terminal, the women's bathroom line is always out the door, while the men's bathroom is rarely busy. Story 50. Generally, not fearing for my physical safety and, if something happens, having a reasonable chance of not coming off terribly. Story 51. Not having to be pregnant and being able to go most places without being bombarded by overly flirtatious people is a relief. If a woman likes you and approaches you, chances are you will at least enjoy 5 minutes of good vibes with someone genuinely trying to get to know you, rather than just figuring out how to have sex with you. The respect we command in certain spaces, seeing people be rude to others but respectful to you, also brings a good laugh. Story 52. Not being judged for being shirtless in the heat, easy bathroom access, no menstruation or childbirth, and fewer safety concerns when walking at night. Plus, people do not question my career choices as much. Being a man during summer means just wearing shorts, no drama. Simpler. Story 53. One time after a night of drinking in downtown San Diego, I sat on a staircase, fell asleep, and woke up 6 hours later before going home. When I woke up, I still had my phone, wallet, and keys with me and was not bothered by anyone the entire time. Obviously, college me was foolish, but the sleep was great. Story 54. In order of greatness. 1. Urinating while standing. 2. Not having to give birth. 3. Earning more than women on average for doing the same job. To clarify, I am against the pay gap and believe women should be paid more, but currently that is not the reality we live in, so I am just grateful. 4. Not having to put in as much effort to look presentable. 5. Fist-bumping friends. Women can do it too, but it looks less satisfying. Story 55. Being left alone when I am out in public is pretty cool. People are a lot more talkative with my wife. Story 56. I am basically invisible. I see women get pestered all the time. Nobody talks to me. I do not need to gauge if someone is a creeper or just overly friendly. I do not have to fake being nice until they leave me alone. Story 57. There is a level of privilege in being able to leave the house without concern or to walk home from the bar without fear. Not living with the paranoia that many women face, the perpetual potential for violence, is deeply troubling. For years, I never thought twice about leaving blinds open or not locking doors. My wife, however, thinks I am insane and has shared some of her experiences, of which I would have otherwise been oblivious. Even the difference in how people interact with me versus how they interact with her is alarming. Story 58. Raises the whole biological differences. The fact that men are relatively safer overall in any society than women. I can go into a gas station in the middle of nowhere and be pretty sure that I am going to be fine. This applies to any given situation in society. If I want to stay at work late, I don't have to worry about someone trying to harm me, and if they do, I am not afraid to put a stop to it. Story 59. No chance of getting pregnant, no menstrual periods. Other men do not tend to prey on me or objectify me. I have never experienced sexual assault and am unlikely to in the future. Story 60. No makeup, no jewelry, simple clothes, short, easy hair. Of course, women can do all of these things too. I have only sisters, no brothers. I have only daughters, no sons. I have only sisters-in-law, no brothers-in-law. From what I see, only men seem to take advantage of the simpler lifestyle. Story 61. Being stronger and faster. Not going through pregnancy. You can get away with putting minimal effort into your appearance. Story 62. Two of the girls at work were talking about having to time when they left work because of who might be hiding in the parking lot. I do not think I have ever feared for my safety. Story 63. We are rarely bothered in public spaces. We do not have to care about our appearance most of the time. We do not have menstrual periods. We do not have to prove ourselves as much with the same credentials and are less often interrupted when talking. Story 64. Privilege to worry less about politics. Almost every change that makes men's lives worse actually makes it worse for everyone. Story 65. The only thing better than being a man and not having to deal with a period is being a gay man, where I do not have to worry about periods or pregnancies. Story 66. I am very emotionally intelligent, and people assume men are not. When people see me display basic emotional skills, they give me too much credit or act like I am evolved for simple things like active listening and empathetic responses that are not creepy or over the top. Story 67. Outside of being stronger, it is actually terrible to be a man, especially if you are not good looking. Story 68. I am tall and very strong, so it is like my brain is housed in a tank. That has allowed me to be unafraid of other people, so I can do and say what I want without having to conform to others. Sadly, many smaller men and women live in fear of others and tend not to say what is true. Generally, it is good to have a penis because it does not require the cleaning and care needed for the female reproductive system. Men have low-maintenance bodies, and the social rules for them also help with that. Story 69. The fact that, in general, our clothes are made much sturdier, And the same haircut can last for years, if not decades. Story 70. Being strong. My wife exercises regularly but still needs my help lifting heavy things. It is nice to be helpful. Story 71. Other than periods, nothing. We live in a woman's world now. Men are treated unfairly by women every day, and no one notices until a man treats a woman unfairly. Story 72. Being naturally physically stronger, the downside is being expected to take care of every physical task regardless of how severe your injuries are. Story 73. The more I talk about this with my female friends, the more I think the following is the best about being a man. I am not afraid. Like never. I am not afraid to walk through the city at night. I'm not afraid if someone from the opposite sex walks behind me. Not if they keep wanting to talk to me or don't take no for an answer. Not if they touch my butt. Never. Not because I'm a particularly tough man, but because it has never been an issue, never been brought up. It doesn't even register for me as a possibility. It really puts the whole innocent flirting into perspective for me. We could go further and say that, possibly due to testosterone, it also makes me completely unafraid to say what I want or how I say certain things. It just puts female interactions in a whole different light for me. Story 74. Everything. I love being a man. It suits my personality. Honestly, I do not know what I would do if I were not a man. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.